Hey guys, it's Justine here from I Should Read That, and today I am bringing you an unboxing and book haul video courtesy of Book Depository. So I am partnering with Book Depository for this video, and of course, as you probably know, Book Depository is an online retail site that ships to, I believe, 170 countries worldwide for free. One of the reasons that I really like them, and I have been using them for quite a long time, is because I am able, through Book Depository, to not only get books that are not necessarily available to me in the UK, but also I can get the American editions that match many of my old editions that I brought when I moved over. So all of my sets match, all of my series match, and it's pretty awesome. So the lovely folks at Book Depository were kind enough to let me pick out some books to unbox and show off to you guys here. These are all sci-fi and fantasy titles. There's some new books, there are some backlist titles, and they're all things I'm really excited for. So let's go ahead and start ripping open packages because I cannot wait. So these showed up individually. So I have 8 packages to tear open and show off to you guys. I'm just gonna kind of pick them at random because I know what is in these because I chose them myself, but I don't know what is in which package. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start off with this one totally randomly. So let's see. There's nothing I love more than ripping open these cardboard book packages. It's the best thing ever. Okay, so this is one I am so excited for. This is a new release. It just came out, I believe, in August. So this is Ray Bear by Jordan Ifueko. So this is the UK version, this is the paperback, so it may look a little bit different if you are a US viewer, but I absolutely love this cover. I love the gold foiling and I love the lions, and this totally captured my interest the second that I saw it. So this is a new YA fantasy. And it follows a girl who has been kind of raised in isolation, and her mother, who's this kind of mysterious figure known as the Lady, has sort of flitted in and out of her life. So when she comes of age, her mother, the Lady, is going to send her to the capital of the kingdom in order to become one of the Council of 11 to the Crown Prince. She is pretty thrilled about this because it'll be the first time that she's ever kind of had a family. She's going to join with these people through a kind of magical ceremony, a magical bond, but the Lady has other ideas. She is going to compel her daughter to kill the Crown Prince as soon as she has gained his trust. This sounds amazing. It has been getting so much good, so many good reviews and so much kind of good press lately, and I am so excited to read this. It looks absolutely wonderful. Okay, so picking up another random one from the pile, let's see what this has. This one is, ooh, another YA fantasy, another one that I'm really looking forward to. This one also came out fairly recently. This is Girl, Serpent, Thorne by Melissa Bashadoost. So this is another YA fantasy, and it features a sapphic relationship at its core, a relationship between 2 girls. And this one I'm really looking forward to, partially because of the fabulous kind of tagline at the bottom here, which says, "Sometimes the princess is the monster." Basically, this book is about a princess who, if she comes into physical contact with another person, she will kind of poison them through her skin and kill them. And honestly, that's kind of all I needed to know in terms— sorry, there's a cat tail here. That's kind of all I needed to know in terms of my interest in this book. Also, it has an absolutely beautiful cover. I am a cover magpie. I'm always going to be interested in a book that has a beautiful cover, but I've heard amazing things about this one so far. People are really loving this. So this is one I've had my eye on for a very long time. I've got my little unboxing assistant here, Dax. She loves cardboard because it looks like cardboard boxes, and she gets to sit on it. So let's see, what are we gonna pick out next? Okay, so we got this one, which is quite a big one. So let's see. There we go. Yay! Okay, this is one I'm really excited for, and it's not something I'd usually go for, which I'll explain in a minute, but it does sound amazing. So this is the Book of Dragons, and it's edited by Jonathan Strahan. So this is an anthology collection from various authors, presumably featuring dragons in each story. So I've been really looking forward to this because it has a fair number of authors whose novels, full-length novels, I've really enjoyed. So just kind of from the front here, a couple of the authors who are featured in this are Ken Liu, Kate Elliott, R.F. Kuang, Garth Nix, and Scott Lynch, all big names in fantasy. So this looks amazing. This looks like it's going to be so good. So how many stories are in here? So it looks like there are 29 different stories in this book, and now that I'm actually looking at the table of contents, I'm seeing a lot more amazing names. We have Amal El-Motar, who's one of the authors of This Is How You Lose the Time War, which is the novella that won the Hugo recently, which is really, really good. We also have Shauna Maguire, who's one of my favorite authors, Aliette de Bodard. This is going to be amazing. I'm really excited. I am usually not much of a short story reader. I'm not usually much of a kind of anthology reader. If I read short stories in collections, they're usually single authors. So for example, I read Exhalation by Ted Chiang, which was amazing. But this one really captured my eye, not only because it has so many amazing authors, but because of the beautiful artwork on the cover, and also just kind of the concept of all of these stories being linked together by dragons. I think that this is going to be absolutely wonderful, and it'll be a really good thing to kind of take slowly, read a couple of stories a day. Alright, Dax, what are we picking next? Let's do this one. So this is a thinner package. Let's see, I'm having a lot of trouble opening these things up. Ooh, okay, this one I'm really excited for, partially because I haven't really heard anyone else talking about it, so it's going to be a rare opportunity for me as someone who is on BookTube to go into a book really not knowing a lot about it. So this is Beneath the Rising, and this is by Primi Mohammed. So this book is one that I'm very, very excited for. It sounds really, really interesting and a little bit different from the other books that I do tend to read. So this book follows a character named Nick, and Nick has been very happily living in the shadow of his best friend named Joanna, or Johnny, who is kind of a child prodigy slash technical genius. So Johnny one day invents a kind of clean reactor that will eliminate the need for fossil fuels and will completely change the world. However, in this process, she also accidentally awakens an ancient evil that is going to subjugate humanity. So the pair basically need to go about righting this wrong, and they need to trust each other completely to survive. This sounds amazing. This is one I'm so, so excited for. It has a blurb from Charlie Jane Anders, who is an author I like a lot. It says, "Gasp out loud astonishing," which sells it for me. And it also actually has a blurb on the back from Adrian Tchaikovsky, who's one of my absolute favorite authors, who says that it's a perfect balance of thriller, horror, and humor. So this sounds like it's going to be an absolutely amazing read. I cannot wait to get to this. Alright, my unboxing assistant has run off, so I'm gonna have to pick the next one myself. I've got this one here. Let's see. What's in this one? Ooh, okay, I'm really excited for this. This is another backlist title. This is A Kata Witch by Neddy Okorafor. So this is probably the oldest book that I have in this unboxing. This was published originally in 2011. Neddy Okorafor, I think, is best known for her Binti series of novellas, which are a wonderful, wonderful trilogy of sci-fi novellas, which I would highly, highly recommend. You can get them individually, you can get them in a bind-up. They're just fantastic. I would definitely recommend picking those up. So I've been really curious about reading some of her other stuff, so I went ahead and picked this one out. So this book is about a girl named Sunny. She's born in New York City, she lives in Nigeria, and she doesn't really fit in anywhere because she has West African features, but she is also albino. She is a great athlete, she can't go out into the sun to play soccer. So she ends up finding her place when she discovers that she is what is called a free agent, who is someone who has a latent magical power, and she becomes part of a quartet of magical students, and they end up being recruited to capture a criminal who is able to use magic as well. So my assistant is back. So this sounds like a really, really fantastic book. I have read her writing in the past and I have really, really enjoyed it, and reading something by Neddy Okorafor is always a treat. Okay, we have another sort of bigger package here. I'm trying to unbox over my assistant, who is currently settling down. Ooh, okay, I'm really, really excited for this. I love this author's adult fiction. and this is, I believe, his very first YA book, which is very, very exciting. So this is A Peculiar Peril by Jeff Vandermeer. That name may sound familiar if you have read or seen Annihilation. It was one of his, probably his most famous book, the first in a trilogy, and was also made into a really fantastic film with Natalie Portman a couple of years ago, which I'd highly recommend you watch if you have not seen. It's very, very weird. And that's kind of what he's known for. He writes very weird science fiction, and his writing style is really unique and really wonderful, and the books that I have read from him I have really enjoyed, so I'm very much looking forward to this. So this book follows a character named Jonathan Lambshead, and he is inheriting his grandfather's kind of strange and bizarre mansion. It's overstuffed with all of these curiosities and strange objects. So they have to catalog all of this stuff, and they discover that it's not just a bunch of strange objects and curiosities. This house actually has links to an alternate version of Earth called Aurora. So in Aurora, they discover that Aleister Crowley, whose name may sound familiar to some people who are interested in the occult, has seized power on a kind of magic-crazed rampage through this alternate version of Europe. So Jonathan finds out that he is part of the secret society to help keep Earth and Aurora separate, and they go on this kind of crazy adventure. So this looks amazing. I'm really, really excited for this, especially as someone who has a very kind of dabbling interest in the occult and all kind of fun things, magic and all that. This sounds wonderful. It also happens to have some amazing illustrations, and I'm like just kind of flipping through it looking for illustrations and seeing some absolutely amazing dialogue. This looks like it's going to be a hilarious and wonderful book. So for example, it's got these kind of like line drawings, these black and white drawings. This looks like such a fun book. This looks like it's going to be a great one to curl up with in the fall, especially on kind of like cold nights where you just need to escape to a weird and wonderful world. So I've got two left. This is the second to last one. Let's see what's in this guy. This is a paperback. Ooh, okay, another one that I'm really excited for. I've been wanting to read this author's work ever since she made a pretty epic speech at the Hugos, I believe last year. So, this is Under the Pendulum Sun by Jeanette Ng. So this book has actually been recommended to me in the past, and it's one I've wanted to get my hands on for a very, very long time because it looks absolutely amazing. It looks like a book that does a particular thing that I very much enjoy, which is blend history, particularly kind of Victorian history with fantasy and magic. So this book follows a character named Catherine, and she discovers that her brother, who is a missionary, has gone to a place called Arcadia, which is the kind of legendary land of the Fae, and he has disappeared. So she is going to follow him. She ends up in this kind of strange and bizarre house while she is waiting for news of him, and she does indeed get news of him. He is writing to meet her. However, the kind of mad queen of the Fae and her court are hard at his heels. It's a pretty vague description, which is something, if you have seen my videos in the past, you'll know I absolutely love. I hate it when you kind of get a really, really detailed description that sort of gives everything away. So this makes me very happy. I am really looking forward to reading this book. It sounds like it's going to be absolutely amazing, and it has been on my radar for years. Okay, last but not least, this is one I'm really excited for. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year. It is the sequel to one of the kind of biggest sci-fi fantasy debuts of last year. This is Harrow the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. So Gideon the Ninth kind of took the sci-fi fantasy community by storm last year. It seemed like everyone was reading it, and people seemed to really, really be loving it. It's a book that I read in lockdown and I absolutely adored. It is bizarre, it is weird, but it's also hilarious and wonderful, and I really, really enjoyed the characters and the story. So this is the sequel, and because of the ending of Gideon the Ninth, I have been desperately waiting to get my hands on this book because I must know what happens next. So I can't really talk about what this book specifically is about because it is a sequel, but if you're interested in Gideon the Ninth, it is a sort of blend of sci-fi and fantasy. I would say it's very strongly a fantasy book, but it just happens to be set in space, and everyone kind of practices necromancy and wields swords. and it's awesome. Basically, it's a murder mystery. We have this character named Gideon who is desperately trying to escape this planet, the Ninth House, where she's sort of been abandoned and kind of imprisoned for pretty much her entire life, and she's desperate to get away, join the army, do anything. She's an amazing swordswoman. She just wants to get away. So in exchange for releasing her, giving her a commission for the army, the daughter of the house, who is Harrowhawk, who is the main character on this cover here, kind of strikes a deal with her. If Gideon is going to be her cavalier, basically her bodyguard, while on this mission for the Emperor, she will give her kind of this commission, let her go live her life. And I don't really want to say much more from there. It is bizarre, it has necromancy, it is super sarcastic and snarky. It is so much fun. So I would highly recommend these if you're looking for something a little bit different. So that is it for this unboxing video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some good recommendations, maybe saw some things that you would be interested in, or maybe saw some books that you happen to love. And I want to give a really quick shout out to Book Depository for partnering with me for this video and letting me pick out all these books to show you guys. In the comments below, I would love to hear if you've read any of these books, if they're in your TBR, maybe if you haven't heard of them, but maybe you're interested in them now, or if you just have any great sci-fi fantasy books that you want to shout out. I post bookish content to my YouTube channel fairly frequently, so go ahead and check it out, and I will see you next time.